Yes, welcome. This is Man United Agenda. It's a happy Sunday, Man United Agenda, because obviously we have done the business today. It's been a good week. Great result against Liverpool last week with a draw where we showed that desire and commitment. And we showed that again today, the base that the manager was asking for. And we competed and we ended up knocking out Arsenal Football Club today, which is delightful. So I'm skin and teeth right now. Bath time. How are you doing, my friend? Wow.
I'm absolutely over the moon with the performance. I feel that I've said this a few times, but I feel we've got Manchester United back, and that the boys are now like battle hardened. I'm absolutely delighted, with the slight exception of Delos annoyed me a little bit. With the silly challenge, but I couldn't be happier, and I'm really pleased to see some new faces here next to me, especially Anthony's.
Yeah, I know. I just want to say, Monday and all that. Thanks for letting me come on the show tonight. Obviously I make numbers, but listen, I'm sort of bubbling up inside. I'm not gonna lie, but a certain someone on the show is gonna come on and try and start poking and this and that and trying to build up the tempo. But I'm not gonna give him the satisfaction tonight. So I'm just gonna talk about the game. Listen, win, lose, or draw is football. I love banter. We can all have a laugh and a joke about it. Mostly on me. I don't mind that. But it's like what I said. It's nice to be on with all you lot as well, and also the people in the chat. And I'm looking forward to tonight's show.
All right. I want to say big up to my friend, TikTok friend, all the way from TikTok land, the world of TikTok. If you're not on there, it's growing by the day. And I've made a lot of good friends on there. One of them is J Dog, but I call him James. I don't know what you guys want to call it, but he's a Man United fan, and he's been on the channel before, part of the quiz. There you go on your desk now. Jay, welcome back, and just tell me how you feeling today after that result.
I'm ecstatic that I'm questioning whether we play better with 10 men or 11. But it's fantastic result. I would have been happy for the result to have lost as well with the effort that we put in, but I'm over the moon.
Wow. Do you think this is a turnaround, Jay? You think things are good all the way up now from this result?
I wouldn't say it's going to be like. I'd say it's going to be more like a roller coaster than it's going to be like a rainbow. So there's not going to be all highs. There's going to be a few lows. I don't think we win every single cup competition that we're in, but I think the only way to go now is up, realistically. So yeah.
Yaz, hold on. The only way is up. You know that tune, Dora, don't you? Yaz, the only way is up. No.
No.
I know that tune, bro. I know that tune.
I know, yeah. Andy does, for sure. And I know Mr. B would as well. He probably was around on the dance floor back then. Dora, lovely to see you, girl, especially on a day like today. How is it all the way in Croatia? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Very, very eventful day, but I mean, this game, I first of all, I forgot that we're playing today. I thought that we are playing tomorrow or something, but coming into this game, I was, my head was empty because this is a cup game, right? The form goes out of the window, anything can happen. And I felt like these players, especially after the Liverpool game, they wanted to, and the comments Ruben Amorim made after that game in particular, where he said, we need to be consistent. I hate that we are playing well against some teams, against others we don't. And I'm glad that we got this reaction, in spite, in my opinion, in some cases, very dodgy refereeing. And I know I don't like to talk about referees, but it feels like, without VAR, I'm talking in this instance, English referees don't know they forget how to ref properly. I think it was a bit shaky from their point of view, but overall, despite all of that, I felt like United showcased the mentality, strong mentality, the determination, and in the end, they won the game in the end, and they got over that obstacle, and I am extremely happy. I know this is still, the early ages of the FA Cup, but I'm glad it's against Arsenal. I mean, they are our rivals, and I'm extremely pleased that we did it against Arsenal.
I want to say big up to Mr. B. He's got the 4 horsemen behind him. And Mr. B said, we know on the Man United agenda, Mr. B usually does a watch along. But he said something earlier. He said, whenever I do a watch along, we end up losing. So we didn't do one today and withdrew. Mr. B, how you doing?
I am absolutely fan-fucking-tastic, mate. I tell you, I am absolutely fantastic. It's good to see a full panel. I can smell a gooner just below me. Well done, Anthony, for taking the link. You're a lot braver than me. Bath time, I love you, man. Ruben, I love you as well, man. I have no idea who you are, but I love you as well, man. Dora, you know there's always love, and Yabba. It's a love stream today, man. Look, I've come in. Obviously, I'm a little bit.
And a couple of drinky winkies.
Oh God, I had more than a couple of drinky winkies, mate. So I'm gonna let you lot run the show. I'm gonna try not to butt in. Anthony, Mr. Herbert, smile, man. Come on, man.
Hello, mate. You all right?
All right,
Yeah,
how
thank
doing?
you. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. During the game, I had a few messages, as you know. I had a picture. I think, what the hell was you drinking? Schnapps. You sent me a picture of and I saw this bottle of Archers next to the side of it. You were a Schnapps fan. I thought
Archers?
bourbon.
I wasn't drinking Archers. I need to have a look at that.
He
picture.
was.
I don't
Molly,
even know
don't listen
what
to me, he's lying. Yeah.
All right, guys, let's go through a few comments. And guys in the comments, if you've got any questions to ask the panel, please fire away. Big up to POTUS. He's saying Arteta in, laughing. What a win, says POTUS. 12 versus 10. Obviously, talking about the referee on their side. And we pulled it off. Where are all the Maguire haters now? Good question. Big up to Bilal as well. I'm not going to read that comment. Dave B saying here, can't criticise Dello for that tackle. He's a left back playing out of position.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Who said that?
That was Dave B. P. Sorry.
Obviously, it's no disrespect, Dave B, but I'm going to assume that you don't play football, bruv. That was the most ridiculous tackle that you could. You're already on a yellow.
Shall we tackle that now?
Yeah, well,
you see that tackle all the time, Mr. B. All the time. You're right, it's stupid, but every player does it. Wan-Bissaka did it against Copenhagen. You do a poor first touch and you launch yourselves in. All professional footballers are addicted to that tackle. I don't understand why.
Stupid. And you're already on a yellow. Pathetic tackle, I thought.
Dora, your thoughts on the tackle? Just because you think tackling's coming out of the game. He didn't even touch the man. He went for the ball. The intent was good. He's trying to do what his manager wants him to do: work hard and close down and pick up the ball. He didn't. It wasn't necessarily dangerous or anything. But how do you feel about that at the state of the game where you can have 2 tackles where you don't even touch anybody and you're getting sent off?
I mean, it was a bit soft. I mean, you could argue that it probably wouldn't be maybe in some cases the ref wouldn't even go for a yellow. But I think in this situation, I think the law should know better, because it happened a few times with our players. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, getting 2 yellow cards. I think in 2 instances where he doesn't care that he is on a yellow, and he just jumps into those tackles, and you could feel like the ref was already shook with everything that has been happening throughout the game. We played a bit rough against Arsenal. We tackled them a lot. I think we tried to stop their tempo with the fouls. And I think that Medley, the referee, who whatever his name is, he wanted to punish that immediately, right? He wasn't he was very loose with his yellow cards. And, a lot of people are saying, it was against United. It was a bit, I think he lost he lost control of the game. But in this instance, the law should know better. He's on a yellow. It's a very, the tension is in the air. It's a very high-stake game for for both clubs, you could say. I mean, this was a huge game in the early stages of the FA Cup. Like, you should know better, and he should, control that ball or just never dive for that tackle. but it is. I mean, he wanted. It happened a lot this season, especially. Many players of Manchester United want to do too much, and they, in the end, take the shortest straw out of the bunch, unfortunately.
Professor James, now, do you like the intent of Dalot trying to get stuck in and working hard? He's been very professional. How do you feel about it? Do you blame him, or do you just think it's unfortunate? What do you think about the state of the game with these 2 yellows? It's a soft kind of thing coming from, years ago, that wasn't nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the first yellow, I think, was a yellow compared to them both. But the seconds, I mean, yeah, I'd always gone sliding in. But at no point did he touch the player. The player could have jumped over and carried on running. And if that was the case, if that would have happened, would we be having this conversation? Like, if the player didn't go down, like, I'm not saying he dived, but I just don't think he had any contact on him. So it's a 50-50 in my eyes. It's an old school 50-50. But in today's game, yeah, it's just not allowed. And it's a silly yellow card. It's a silly second yellow, really.
Before I come to you, Andy, Martha, I just want your thoughts on this. Your player, you want to show that intent. You can't bottle it. But what should be the mindset once you get booked in a game? Do you completely forget, or do you see a situation like that and say you can't sort of pull out? I mean, what do you think is going on through Dallow's mind? Is it his fault? Should he sort of hold back a bit or something?
Well, it's about like personal responsibility. I think like if you lose the ball, the player nearest to the ball is the one that needs to apply pressure. So when you miscontrol it, you're normally the person nearest to the ball. You go in and you're going over the top, essentially, not literally, but essentially to try and rectify the situation. There's little details around what happened there that could have helped Dalot out, like Ugarte could have actually got himself in front of Mourinho, whatever he's called. So could the Garnacho. But it's look, this is something that we see so often in football, like a poor first touch and then diving in with the yellow card. That I think it's that would suggest to me it's part of human nature, and I've done this before myself. I think you're lying if anyone can tell me that they've lost the ball and they haven't dived in to try and rectify the situation. You'd like to think a professional footballer has more experience, has a calmer head, has more trust in his teammates, but we see it so often that I don't know. I think it's a harsh yellow, to be honest, but I've got no issues with the ref sending him off.
I can't. Am I the only one who thinks it was a proper yellow?
No, it is a yellow. I just think it's a harsh yellow.
Okay, fair enough.
Anthony,
the ball's in front of him. He's in control. He pulls out.
Anthony, you're an Arsenal fan. You must be delighted by that. You won't be going down to 10 men. But what's your feeling about the game in general? Are you supposed to sort of have that mindset where you switch off and bottle it a little bit and don't go in for challenges once you've been booked once? Because I think he shows good intent there, trying to sort of close things down. But unfortunately, he got himself sent off. And you've, as an Arsenal fan, you would know. I mean, you've had 2 players sent off early in the season. I think Rice got sent off for some moving ball or something. Then you had Saliba was sent off early in the season, and also the guy looks like the referee, the Belgian guy in the wing. What's his name again?
Trossard.
Did Trossard get sent off as well? So at some point in the season,
he did,
it's usually both 2 yellow cards. So how do you feel? Do you think I was sending off for Dalot today?
Well, the first things first, Monty. When you actually get booked, first of all, let's take into consideration you and Mr. B, your managers. When your player is on a yellow, you actually tell your player, don't do something stupid. Don't go in with a reckless challenge because you're on a yellow as it is. Unfortunately, he's come in. I think his tensions were obviously to come in to get the ball, that sort of thing. There was a little bit of a contact minimum, but listen, I got to agree with Mr. B on this. It was another yellow card. It was, and that was the hence for the sending off. And it was. In all fairness, I will say it was a little bit stupid. You know what it's like when you're playing games. You're on a yellow. You've got to think. You don't forget that you've already been booked in the game. Let's be honest. You really don't. I know your mindset is slightly different. You're focusing on the game. It's an FA Cup game. I get it. You want to win it and go into the next round. I get all that. But the trouble is, though, is you can't make stupid, silly mistakes once you're already on a booking. Because in all fairness, that booking that you picked up the first one was quite early within the game. Let's be honest. So do you know what I mean? So for the time from that booking to the second booking, there wasn't really a lot of time between each booking, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
he should have had his mindset better, and that's all I'm going to say on that subject.
Okay, let's see what the guys in the comments are saying here. Emma's saying here, and this is an argument I think we've had before, but you don't give a yellow for that in a game like this, or does special game treatment only apply to City? I think you're saying it's half in jest. I mean, sometimes you want, for the spectacle, you want 11 versus 11. You can have a word sometimes, but the referee, bath time, or anyone ask a question? Do you think, you've done a referee course recently as well, Mr. B, do you think the referees just do it by the book to penalise things, or do you think they're allowed to use their discretion sometimes?
You're not allowed to use discretion.
They're not, okay.
You're not allowed to use discretion. The rules are there to be adhered to, and if it causes they're more likely to get in trouble for not following the rules,
Right.
following what's in black and white in front of them, rather than using their own discretion. So I still feel, I didn't see what the argument was. I thought it was a reckless tackle, and it was definitely a second yellow. But
okay, just a couple more. We did better. How you doing, mate? Said better timing by the challenge as well. It was a stupid challenge, says Danny B as well. All right, let's move on. Let's start with starting lineup. None of us, all Man United fans, I'm gonna come to you, James, Professor James. We were a bit shocked. I mean, we always, on our preview shows, we pick a team lineup. We think who's going to start. Someone who didn't start today, who's been one of our better performers, was Ahmad, and he was replaced, I think, by Garnacho. What's the manager thinking there with the lineup? Because we've had a week off and they played midweek. Is this his strongest side? I mean, what was he thinking there? What's the thinking behind that?
I just think it. Well, I mean, before the game, he said that Garnacho was just doing really well in training and stuff like that. So that's his reasons. But me personally, I just think it's a toss-up between. I think they're both good enough to start, Garnacho and Ahmed, in my eyes, personally. But it's. I mean, you can't take off Bruno and start them both. So you've got to try and sort of rotate them. That's my thinking of it. But yeah, I think Garnacho's a solid player. He's class at running at defenders. I think he's got the same sort of attributes as Ahmad, if not maybe slightly better at some bits. But yeah, I think they're both up and coming superstars for Man United.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, guys, about the starting lineup? I mean, obviously, we were talking. I mean, me, Mr. B, and Bath done a lineup, Dora, and we all put. I think we all put Euro in and dropped the lit. But did it start again today, Dora? I mean, what's your progress with him? Because he started the game. Do you think that's fair? Would you rather see Euro in there?
I mean, I honestly didn't think that much about the starting 11. I just saw like, oh, he dropped Onana for Bayern there. Bayern did have not a very good game, I think, against was it in the Carabao Cup against Spurs? Like whoever, I'm not sure which game it was. Like when he was very poor, but I was shocked about the goalkeeper change, especially in these kinds of games. I know this is early stages of FA Cup, and we have important matches, upcoming matches, but it is against Arsenal, where we had a lot to prove. I was a bit puzzled to it. I mean, Ahmad just signed a new contract, right? And he was set on the bench, which, in my opinion, I think Amorim is sticking with his guns in terms of that he likes to rotate his teams. And I think, but on the other hand, you see defense is still intact, right? You have Martinez, Maguire, and De Ligt, which started a few games already in the last few weeks. So maybe he didn't want to gamble with the defense. He wanted to have, experience, agility, and physicality, because at the end of the day, Maguire is our most physical center back. He's been performing really well. Today he was outstanding. We will talk about it. De Ligt, in my opinion, kind of have up and down games, but this game as well, he played really well in that right center back position. So it was interesting to see how Ruben Amorim thinks about his teams. You could clearly see that he wanted to shake things up a bit, give some people a chance, but on the other hand, he wanted to keep the solid. So he wanted to keep the solid defense at the back end. I'm glad that he did it because they played. That defense was really good today, and probably the best performance this season, in my opinion, even better than Liverpool because we didn't concede two, we conceded just one game. So yeah, kudos to them.
Bath time and Mr. B, the regulars on the show. The foundation here. Just discuss with me the starting lineup. Obviously, the key ones for me is Garnacho coming in for Ahmad, and you got De Ligt in. We weren't sure about that. Bayende, forget about how he played. I was really surprised that he started. He doesn't usually do that, does he, guys?
No, he doesn't. Look, I've sort of been on the fence with De Ligt for quite a long time. Tonight, him and Maguire could stop an American invasion of Greenland the way they played tonight. Absolutely brilliant from them. Ahmad, actually, I found less of a surprise. He's been left out of a couple of games and so on. And it's just that we always knew we needed something off the bench. And we thought that Xerxes and Garnacho were the guys that come off the bench with their sort of special move to get Garnacho in. But it was Xerxes and Ahmad. And it makes a lot of sense because those two, you'd think, are our best forwards at probably keeping the ball, relieving a bit of pressure. Bayender is the Sergio Romero now. He's the cup goalkeeper. And I've got no criticisms with the team that started or finished the game. They're heroes to a man.
Mr. B, do you want to wind up with Man United? I want to come to Anthony and talk about
team. I wasn't surprised that I did hear that Ahmad had a knock. Okay. I don't have any of the three of the four back four that start. Well, five, including if you put Mazraoui in there, who he hasn't been in there for. I don't really have a problem with starting. Garnacho starting. Yep, I get it. I would have started Xerxes over Højlund, but look, it is what it is. But everything else was fine. Yeah, come on, Anthony, let's talk.
Okay, Anthony, your Arsenal starting lineup. Obviously, you know what it's like. You get wounded when you get your top players out. Odegaard was out for a period of time. You struggled. Saka's out now, and it looks like you're struggling again. I mean, the starting lineup. You've got this young boy called Skelly playing in that left sort of sided defensive role. You started with Marino, Jorginho, and Odegaard in midfield. Dropped Rice. He was on the bench, and Jesus on the right. The others, the sort of mainstays. How did you feel about starting lineup? Was that strong enough, or are you considering about the game you had midweek and you got Spurs in a few days as well?
Yeah, we got Tottenham Wednesday night. Do you know what? When I saw the starting lineup, I thought to myself, yeah, I can actually go with that. I mean, Skelly playing left back, he is a good left. He plays quite decent at left back, but his actual role, he's actually a centre midfielder. That's his proper role, Skelly. Yes, he's actually a centre midfielder. So that's the one thing that we're sort of wary on that sort of thing, But in all fairness, since he's been there playing at left back, he hasn't been that bad. I mean, obviously with the starting lineup, we've got Rail in goal, Timber at right back because obviously Ben White's injured, and our two good centre backs of Gabriel and Saliba. The midfield is that's where it was a little bit of a problem. Personally, the three that I would like to see in midfield are, well, the best three that we've got is obviously Rice, Odegaard, and Thomas Partey. Marino, we haven't seen much of him. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really know what his role is and what his plans are. Obviously when he plays in the game as well, he did have a chance in this game, if you noticed, to score, and the shot went wide around the post. But that was all he done. Obviously, we got Saka out injured. We're supposed to play Jesus. We did play Jesus on wide right in the placement for Saka, and obviously Martinelli on the left, because when we've got that combination on the pitch of playing Trossard with Martinelli sort of thing, it doesn't gel. It doesn't seem to work. The balls are less efficient coming into the box when you've both got Martinelli and Trossard playing. I don't know why, but as us as Arsenal fans, we have noticed that. Kai Havertz, oh God, where do I start with him? How long's the show? Um, yeah, I knew
He's
you were gonna.
fantastic, mate. He is fantastic. People moaned about the about Maguire's miss the other day, but the fact that Havertz is a paid striker, he's actually paid to be a striker and not to be kicking the ball over the bar but underneath it. I think it's a travesty. The fact that you got him, we've got Anthony. Yes, we laugh about Anthony, but Kai Havertz is a bag of shit.
No,
He did win a penalty.
He didn't win it. He won the penalty because there was no
dived.
fucking bar. Come on, bath time. That wasn't a penalty, bruv.
No, it wasn't a penalty, but he still won it. I think Havertz is all right. I prefer him to Rasmus Højlund.
Oh,
no,
no, well, I can agree with that.
Let's not.
I
talk
can
about
agree with
Rasmus.
that.
Let's not talk about Rasmus.
no, let's do it. Stir the pot. Go on. I actually agree with bath time. I don't know if we're outnumbered.
Yeah,
I agree with bath time. I think Havertz is a good player.
He's the worst. What's his name? Rasmus is the worst number 9 we've had. Agallo's better than him. I don't even know if Agallo was. I don't even know if Agallo had the number 9 shirt. But Rasmus, to be given the shirt permanently, is an absolute disgrace. He has nothing, no touch. He won one wrestling match that he had the whole half.
Yeah.
He's got no ball. He's got nothing. I don't want to see any serious game where he has to be playing. He's in my eyes. He's just downhill. Get him out as soon as we can get him out. I'm done. I am.
his
done with
movement on Bruno's goal is horrific. Like Garnacho does incredibly well there. Like I'm not sure Gabriel defends it properly, but I mean, how Rasmus isn't like trying to move his man centrally, and then you sit there saying that Havertz is had a stinker. Like he contributed more, I feel, than Rasmus did.
Yeah, but the chances that Havertz had in that game. See, I'm not saying what I actually was shouting at the telly, but gee, that it was so poor. I mean, in all fairness, me and Mr. B was messaging each other through the game, and I personally thought it was a game that we could have won. And I'm not saying it to be horrible. I mean, the missed penalty by Odegaard.
It wasn't a missed penalty. It was a superb save.
It was just, but trouble is, Mr. B, I will say this one. If I had to pick, right, out of 22 players, the best player on that pitch, without a shadow of a doubt, was your goalkeeper. That was the best player on the pitch by far. Yeah,
I thought it was Maguire.
Maguire was good as well, yeah.
No, Maguire was good, but I thought, for me, your goalkeeper just edged it. Because
But he gave you a goal, Anthony.
I know, but the trouble is that you've got to think from what your goalkeeper played that state. What would it have been like if Onana was in goal?
Well, the kicking would have been better.
Yeah.
Well, but trouble is, this is what I'm saying. I mean, and that header from Declan Rice. If he would have actually got more power, but more leverage and power
That's
behind it,
easier than a penalty. That header.
Yeah, that would have that most probably would have gone in as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Havertz was appalling today. I agree. We can't hear you, Anthony, unfortunately.
He's in the VAR room crying.
Yeah, sorry, Dr. Barkley. So Havertz was appalling. I think certain players get abuse, like Harry Maguire. He could be playing well, but as soon as he does anything badly, he gets abused for things. So I think Havertz is unfortunately, because Arsenal fans are crying out for goals or striker. He's not a striker. He does a good job. He's a nuisance. He's a shithouse as well. That's for sure. The way he winds people up, I've noticed that about him. He's got that about him. He doesn't, he doesn't care. He's not trying to be anyone's friend, and I like that kind of German attitude, a bit like Andreas Muller, you know, just doesn't give a damn. So I think he's a bit of a threat. I like the player. And I think he's a benefit to Arsenal. He's scoring goals. He's the main goal scorer. So why is he getting targeted like that? I don't know. But I thought he's okay.
Did you say the main goal scorer?
Yeah, I think he's been the main guy scoring goals in the forward line for them.
What are you talking about?
It's
They've got
Saka.
Saka's not there. Saka's not there today, is he?
Yeah, but
All right. Yeah,
he was their main goal threat,
Yeah.
is what Yabba is saying. So
Yeah,
today,
yeah.
Yeah, because
he was
he
the one
plays
that
as a
carried the
striker.
threat.
oh shit.
Yeah.
He carried shit. He
It's
carried shit.
interesting, isn't it? Because look, Stephanie said Havertz is good at two things: diving and missing from 3 yards out. Professor James, you're a Man United fan, but do you think Havertz has got something about him? He's getting raw.
So, like, he's one of them players that gets himself into fantastic positions and he sort of knows how to work a system, but he ain't got, like, I'm struggling to see what he's good at, apart from getting himself into positions. Like, I do not rate him at all. I never rated him when he was at
Chelsea scoring winners in Champions League finals.
Yeah, no, I never rated him when he was at Chelsea. I just didn't see what all the hype was about, and then he went to Arsenal, and I still don't see what the hype's about.
Okay.
I mean, he scored that goal in the Champions League finals, and since I think that's his whole career, unfortunately for him, I think that made his career, and it is what it is, right? I think he was a huge part on why I think we played really well, but I think he was a huge factor of them losing. I mean, he missed the pen, or Bayern saved his pen in the end, and he missed 3 insane chances that, I mean, those were open goals, and I think he should have scored. In my opinion, I think he folded under the pressure, and I think that's a huge thing.
So,
Okay,
Dora,
cool.
are you saying that, like, we should have been beaten 3-1?
I mean, it's all about what if. But I think in the perfect world, right? I mean, in the alternate universe, I think we concede 3 goals because you cannot argue that those weren't clear-cut chances. We always talk about, how our players are, are they creating clear-cut chances? In most cases, they don't, unfortunately, this season. But when they do and when they miss, we criticize it. Havertz missed clear-cut chances. And I think Anthony is going to agree with me, right, as an Arsenal fan. He should have scored. Do I think that, they should have beaten us? I mean, they didn't in the end, right? I mean, sometimes you need that sports luck, football luck, I guess. And I think we were lucky that he missed in those instances because at the end of the day, we were one man down. And I think it's difficult to play, especially against the team that is like Arsenal, who are so dominant on the ball. They are really good at creating, and to see Manchester United withstanding those I would say at times very clear-cut chances. I think that's a huge kudos to Manchester United. And in my opinion, I think Havertz needs to stay on training ground and learn how to score goals from 2 meters from the goal, because those are open chances. Those are open chances to me.
So, if this is right to ask a question, do you think that Arsenal need to get like a better striking trainer or striking sort of
Like the set piece coach.
yeah rather than going to get a striker? Would you think that they would get the staff members to teach them how to do it rather than getting a striker? You know what I mean?
Anthony, you can answer that one.
I can answer that one. I can answer that one quite easily. No, that we need a striker. There's no ifs or buts about it. For me, a striker scores goals. That's his job. He scores goals. We haven't got that up front. We got Kai Havertz and Jesus. We need somebody up there that can score us 20 goals a season. There are strikers out there that can do it, I believe not as many as like it was like years ago, but there are some strikers that can score goals. I mean, at least 18 to 20 goals. This is what we're crying out for, Arsenal Football Club, and we haven't got that. Um, the problem is, going back years ago with Arsenal, we were classified as a one-man team. Without Ian Wright, we didn't really do anything. Now, we've actually proved that without Saka. We can't do anything without Saka. Sterling is not as good. I'd rather him go back to Chelsea, because he's no good. I think his time is been and gone. Martinelli, as far as I'm concerned, I think he's lost pace. You know, his ambitions is blacked. The last 18 months at the club. And Trossard, I thought Trossard was decent, but look at that miss Trossard did in the game. When he flew, he slid into the net, and the ball went literally from 2 yards out, went straight over to the crossbar. I couldn't believe, and
as Mr. B would say, with the penalty save, he didn't miss it. It was a great save, and I think the same applies with that chance for Trossard. He didn't miss it.
I know, Monty. I know.
Anthony, look, you're just making an antilogical argument, mate.
No.
Oh, you are correct, Mr. B. Yeah, that's an ontological argument.
I'm calling how I see my team. I mean, to be honest with you, I think Odegaard's been in poor form of recent. Seriously.
All right, guys, let me ask a question. To answer James's question there, I think when I'm looking at Arsenal today, how they could hurt us, there's always that half space cross dinked in by Odegaard, and that we could deal with that with De Ligt and Maguire in there. That was no problem for us. Apart from that, corners, that was but it's not. I don't think it's an issue about strikers. It's about how you're creating your chances. I don't think it's very sort of restricted. It's either half space crosses or corners at the moment, so you need to expand on that, in my opinion. But let's just going back, because there's so many comments coming through. Big up to everyone tuning in right now. 19 in the chat. Let's get the likes up if you don't mind. Press the like button for us. Big up to Mr. POTUS as well. He says, Mr. B, yes or no, are you a Maguire fan now? We'll come on to that. Let's start with the goalkeeper. Good performance today. We haven't seen much of this guy, this Turkish guy. We've been crying out for him, to make a judgment. I can't make an assessment on him because I haven't seen enough game time from him. But is there a question mark now from that one game that he could be challenging, or is it just a case of he's always going to be a number two? He just had a good performance today. Let's go clockwise around the room. Punchy. I'll start with you, Bath Time. Talk about the goalkeeper and going forward with him. He's going to have great confidence after that, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he started playing about the 60th minute. Don't forget that his kicking was dreadful, and that he should have claimed that ball in the 6-yard box to the corner. I've got no issues with him, but he can definitely improve. My big concern, though, is that rearguard action is one for the ages for United. That'll be glorified for weeks and months, and Onana was not part of it. And I wonder if the defenders would prefer Bayindir to start behind them, as he was part of that performance. That team has they've come together today, they've battled, they've relied on each other. Xerxes proved himself to me as a Manchester United player, like Collier as well. And Onana's not part of that. So that's kind of my concern, is that I think that Bayindir is part of our best defensive unit that we've seen.
Okay, Mr. B, come around to you and follow it around. Goalkeeper situation.
I'm still taking Onana. There has to be a reason why Bayindir is second choice. He sees this guy in training, and he has no problem dropping a man. So the fact that Bayindir came in, I think it was more of to give him game time. There was rumours that we were trying to sell him in the January window. If we are, then that's obviously put a couple of million on. After that performance, I actually hope he stays, because that's giving him the confidence, and maybe the confidence that the team maybe didn't have in him. Because the first half, his kicking, I never stopped effing and blinding. The kicks weren't going nowhere. Even in the second half, his kicks weren't going nowhere. But he the stuff that I didn't expect him to be doing after his shoddy kicks, he did. And he did really, really well. So long live Bayindir.
So you're sticking with Onana for now. James, how do you feel about the goalie situation?
He's good. I mean, we've always had a decent backup keeper, so I'm glad that he's performed and he's showed what he's worth. He had a bad last game. I can't remember who it was against. I know it got mentioned earlier. But yeah, I think he's done himself really well today, and I think a lot of people are going to remember this performance from him.
So,
But yeah,
still number one,
I'm picking
still
with.
number 2 then, in your eyes.
Yeah, yeah, he's a great number 2. But Onana's number 1 for me. I think he's clear above him.
Yeah. Dora, are you taking a number 2, or are you just frowning for no reason?
I think he needs to prove more. In my opinion, I never rated him since we bought him. Then I saw him at Euros making a stinker in that first game, which benched him for the rest of the tournament. I mean, he's fairly young. I don't know. I think he's maybe a few years younger than Onana, but I think he has goalkeepers are kind of different from some of the players. Like they always, kind of, some of them peak very late, in their 30s, for example, or around 30 years old. So I think for now, I think he gained confidence from this game. I think he has the ability to be a good showstopper, but he needs to work on his. He's like a baby David De Gea in my eyes after this game because he cannot, send the ball, distribute the ball as Onana can. But when he's on his game, I think he can shot stop really well. And I'm glad that we are having a goalkeeper that can save penalties, and he saved 2 penalties today, which is a huge point. I'm still sticking with Onana in the first place because at the end of the day, we need to have competition in this team, and I think that this Bayern performance hopefully kicks Onana's, it kicks Onana up his ass, and he starts performing like he did earlier this season because I feel like Onana has been he plays like he's drunk in the last few games. Maybe besides that Liverpool game. But yeah, I think it's good to have competition. Hopefully, it kickstarts better performances from Andre Onana.
Andy, what's your goalie situation like? I mean, Ray's come in, he's edged the English boy out of the club almost. Are you happy with Ray? Where do you rate him in the league? I mean, do you think he got any issues there with your goalkeeper situation? Do you think he's quite secure?
I think it's secure now. I mean, I want all for it. I mean, going back to obviously when we had the 2 with Rhea and Ramsdale in goal, I thought Rhea was better on his feet, but with the hands, like obviously with the goalkeeper, I thought Ramsdale obviously edged that. But I mean, how Rhea is playing now between the sticks, I'm happy with him. On tonight's game, I feel that your goalkeeper, I know you're talking about your kicks, the way how he kicks the ball out and stuff like that, but at least you've got a goalkeeper that kicks the bloody the ball out of the pitch. Ours just uses his hands. He just likes to rule it. He always plays from the back. He passes it out from the back, and to me, I'm not a big fan of that. But I really, what I hated was the penalty shootout because Rhea never once dived to his right. He constantly on the 5 penalties he's taken, he dived to his left on every single penalty, and I thought to myself, he's got at least dived to the right at least once, and he never. So he was poor in that penalty shootout, David Rhea. But I mean, for your goalkeeper, I think if he's going to stay number 2. Okay, fine, but I think there should be a rotation there between him and Onana. But I really think just going on to tonight's performance, I thought he was a star man, your goalkeeper tonight, and I mean, fair play to you for winning and going into the next round. You lucky jammy. Oh,
Thank you very much. Comments quickly on the goalkeeper situation. Time to build up our goal difference. If Onana plays in the next game, he will concede. Bayonde would be my next choice to keep a clean sheet. That's Simon Warner. Good to have competition in the goalkeeper spots. It's Stephanie Griffiths. Simon again saying Bayonde doesn't make many mistakes, as Butterfingers referring to Onana. Bayonde saved all 5 penalties. Onana wouldn't. Dark Rose saying here, Onana do some juju on the fans. We got Reserve Bet saying, I like Onana. Bayonde has mistakes in him. We need better options than both of them. Big up to Barty saying in the next game will be a real test for Amaran as United manager. Under him, manages to raise the level against clubs, but struggles versus clubs around him. That's from Liverpool fan Bar. And we got if Banana is to be sold, who will buy him? Says Bart. We're not getting it. And Poster saying his kicks were awful. Agreed, yeah, they were. But I think, like Bar time said, maybe the players want Bayonde behind them. Interested in that, isn't it? All right, let's talk about the goal. To the build up to the goal, Dora, you're usually good at this. I mean, with your live action replay. Anyone just chip in? Let's talk about the first goal, because what I do remember when I didn't notice at first from the replay, Gabriel made a mistake or something on the halfway line, but still there's a lot of work to do. So just whoever wants to chip in on this, the goal, the Man United scored with Bruno Fernandes, whatever you like about it, whatever you want to do a run through, whatever. Let's start from, I mean, somehow Gabriel slipped up or made a mistake on the halfway line, right?
Yeah. Go on, Anthony. I want to see this. I want to hear this.
Do you know what? He did make a mistake, Gabriel, on the halfway line, and I was literally, I was shouting at the telly, and I thought to myself, why in the hell is a centre back that far up? Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's, to me, when you're by the halfway line, that's a midfield role. You know, with your defence, your defence got to get back, get in line, and get ready for the obviously for the opposition to attack. So, I mean, I don't get it why he was up there that far. I mean, I got to be honest with you, it was a good ball, you know, a good run into Bruno Fernandes, and you know, and it was a good goal. I mean, in all fairness, it was a defensive error on our behalf. I will say that, but listen, I mean, everybody, some defenders play like that, you know, and I was really quite surprised it was Gabriel, because in all fairness, out the two, Gabriel's been our better centre back this season than Saliba, in my opinion. And I just don't get why he was literally rushing out of that centre back's position on the far, you know, the wide left to go in to get into that tackle. But obviously, it didn't. He was better off just staying back, because it didn't need. Well, it led to the goal basically. You scored, so it was obviously his mistake. But you know, I mean, fair shake. I mean, Bruno Fernandes' goal, yeah. In all fairness, it was a good goal, but it was down to a defensive error mistake. So you know, that's all I can say on that on Monday. I'd like to see something else, but I just want to keep it clean.
Yeah, I think it was a great counter attack, really. Nicked the ball off them and just run at them. He had two options. Obviously, he had Rasmus, when it was Rasmus and Garnacho. Don't really know what Rasmus was, apart from just running straight. I don't really know what he was doing. But Bruno sort of noticed he was running and sort of used his abilities to go, well, let me just peel off, because, and then, yeah, it was just Bruno done his magic, took his hat off, and cracked on with Bruno, you know?
Yeah.
It's the running, the driving with the ball, obviously, with Garnacho in decision making was the right choice. Bath time, let's talk us through and go to Mr. B and Dora with the goal. I was delighted at this point. What a good goal that was in the space of seconds from the halfway line. We broke and punished them for being out of shape.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, like, to be fair to Arsenal, they recovered really well. I think they had like 6 men back in the box. Gabriel, whoever it was, like, left a big corridor for Garnacho to run down, was inviting him to go down there, and he showed really, really good understanding of the situation. He committed his man before he shipped the ball on. He didn't like knock it forward. My only issue with it is that I thought that Rasmus's movement was once again dreadful. He should be getting across Saliba, emptying that middle section and allowing Garnacho to sort of stride into the box. But the pass is absolutely beautiful from Garnacho, and the finish is outrageous, and that is why players like Bruno are so valuable, because it's a wonderful strike. It's really, really difficult. Bruno has timed his movement. He's reacted to the poor run from Rasmus and just dropped off a little bit to receive between the spaces. I've got, apart from Rasmus's movement there, which I might be wrong on. This might be something that's part of the game model and has been rehearsed. But I think Garnacho really showed like a level of intellect that he was missing last season, and I'm really pleased for him that like he made that decisive contribution. Well done to Bruno. Just well done, lads. That was brilliant.
Mr. B, you were sitting watching the game with an Arsenal fan, weren't you? So just remind us what happened and what did you do? Were you in his face?
Yeah, I was in his face. That's normal. That's what's to be. That's the whole point of sitting down there. That's the whole point of me going. You know what I mean? But no, Bruno's Bruno. You know, he's still going to be out there wasting the passes, but he's one of the few people in our team who has that in his armory, who's capable of doing that. Ahmad, I feel Ahmad's got that in his armory. None of the defenders. You look at any other midfielders we've got in our team, I don't see anybody else maybe being able to do that. You know, I would like to say Kobe, but I haven't seen it yet. Not from that, not like a shot like that. No, he's a special player when his head's on it. He's still petulant. I think his pace, he can't dribble out of anywhere. Man are catching him for fun. It's like he's carrying a fridge on his back when he's ready. But he does his job and he will keep doing his job. You know, listen, they're dashing away man who's on 300 grand. So if he wants to stay, he needs to perform or he'll be the next one out the door. So yeah, fair play to Bruno. Proper captain's performance today.
Yeah, Dora. I mean, you usually do the run through the goals. Anything to add to that? Because obviously, and how did you react? I mean, at that point, because it was kind of a stale first half, and to come out and score a goal like that, it was. Yeah, watch that on the 52nd minute.
Yeah, it was good to see that we are positive. We are coming out of that halftime positively. I suppose that was a good team talk from Amorim and the rest of the trainers. But I mean, Gabriel made a mistake there. I mean, he's a great defender in my opinion. Him and Saliba make one of the, maybe in some people's eyes, the best center back pairing in the league. But he always, to me, and I know Anthony watches his team much more than me, but I just feel like Gabriel has those sometimes sleepy moments where he would either lose his head or he would just make a massive mistake after some games. This season it's much less, but it felt like he could have done much better then. But kudos to Garnacho, because I feel like Alejandro Garnacho has been quite poor this season. His confidence is in my opinion has been on the floor for many games, especially because of because of him probably going chronic. He's chronically online. He reads what people talk about him, and he listens to fans outside, blah blah. But it's good to see that Amorim gave him a chance over Amad Diallo, who just signed his new contract, which was a huge deal for him, and he showcased that he can have a place in this squad, potentially even be a starting 11 player. And as BT said, and the rest of the guys, like, he showed his intelligence there, and kudos to him. And of course, amazing finish. Amazing finish by Bruno Fernandes, like elite Bruno Fernandes goal, in my opinion. Great goal.
So Andy, I highlighted Gabriel for the mistake we gave the ball away at the halfway line for the goal, but he shows a lot of character, doesn't he? He's a bit of a threat at set pieces and scoring goals, and he came back well. And I was gutted when he got the equaliser. Do you remember the goal?
Yeah.
Andy's just staring into space.
yeah, I do remember the goal. Yeah, when he took his shot, and it was a good goal. I think it did it. I'm not having it didn't deflect off of anybody, did it? If it did, I blinked and I missed it. Yeah, I think if it did, I missed that one. I blinked because that was how quick the ball was rifled into the net. Look, so I do apologise on that one, but in other words, it did deflect. I was just trying to, I was just trying to make it so there was a deflection. But yeah, I mean, being at what that goal, Monty, is being at the right place at the right time for me. The ball was came down in front of him, lovely. turning on the obviously turning around and kicking the ball in the net. Listen, it's all about scoring goals at the end of the day. We don't care how we get them. I suppose it's the same with Manchester United as well. As long as that goal goes at the back of the net, you're happy. And if it could produce obviously certain wins in vital games or certain games, then so be it. But unfortunately for us, it wasn't. But it was the goal that we needed, obviously, to get back into the game and obviously to go into extra time penalties. So
I found there's a few errors with that goal from Man United defending point of view.
There was a few errors. Yeah, there was.
Want to touch them, guys? What did we see with that goal then? Because I'm disappointed with a few things. For them to get a shot on target, that was out of order.
Getting out and body shapes.
Yeah.
Do you think the goalie should have done better half time?
Yes. It's the middle of the 6-yard box. It does.
So what should he have done? Caught it?
Cleared it at a minimum.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Kobe's header isn't great either. That's a kind of desperation header as it was. But Martinez's body shape is really poor on the line. If a ball goes through like 2 lines of pressure, like there's a lot that you can talk about how it should be improved. The players aren't out fast enough. They're not like blocking enough of it off. There's not enough pressure on the ball. Havertz also runs off Martinez in that a little bit. I just feel that that's an example of where details really, really matter, because whatever you say about Arsenal, they're a very, very good football team. They've got a lot of very good players, and you've got to be on it for stuff like that. And I feel Maguire and De Ligt probably thought that, and Kobe probably thought the keeper had dealt with it, and they hadn't seen Final Destination and were ready for anything, and so they're just half a yard out late. And those small little distances matter in a football match and over the course of a season, and I hope we can learn from it.
Yep, most certainly. Mr. B, anything to add to that? And Dora?
Yeah, a lot of mistakes in that moment in time, and especially if you look at it, Dalot just got a second yellow. It was a red, right? We are 1 man down, and the team once again kind of failed to, keep calm, don't fold under pressure in that moment in time. I would say, because it happened a lot this season. I mean, we either concede one, but then we concede 2 more in 2 minutes, or we miss a huge chance and then we concede 2 more goals or something like that. It's always small, small amounts of time short amounts of time where we are kind of folding. And there were a lot of mistakes in that goal. I mean, kudos to Arsenal players to score in that position, but poor block in my opinion. Binder should have saved it. He didn't. And yeah, it was a really tough watch, because I was like, oh my god, it's very rare to see this team to be solid and all that, but in that moment it was so stupid in my opinion, and we conceded, and I was like, okay, this game is going to be tough.
I just think, just to add to the goal, Barthan mentioned good points. The Kobe clearance, the goalkeeper should have came through it. People were saying they could have caught it. I doubt that. Just punch the ball, just come through and just clear everything. I felt that De Ligt was at fault as well, because he's too concerned with putting his hands behind his back. And when the shot came in, he turned at an angle which allowed it to deflect off him. If you stand straight and square, you're more likely to keep an eye on the ball without closing your eyes and get a good foot in it to clear it. I felt that was disappointing defender from my point of view. I might be wrong. I've only seen one replay, but De Ligt was at fault for me. You don't let that. You don't turn like that in the box, because you're more square like that. There's more of you. If you put your hands behind your back already and then turn on the side as well, it's only, you can't really see. It's like, it's not boxing where you're trying to reduce the amount of space you can hit. You want to make yourself as big as possible. So I was disappointed with him there. So just want to stay. Look, as Man United fans, we on the 61st minute, Dalot went off with second yellow card. I'm looking at this as a manager. Do you make a change there and then? Because he didn't. The first change came. I'm looking here in the 80th minute.
Was that the triple substitution, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what happened? What with the players that we had on the pitch? What does anyone remember what happened?
I
Milo's
thought
come off.
I
No subs
I
been made. So how
I
do we shuffle it around?
I have no idea because
Yeah,
I thought Ahmad was coming on. So I would like to know. So I would like somebody. That's a good question. I would like somebody to fill me in on that one, please.
yeah. So I think it's gone from, I think, where Garnacho was. I think he's filled in to where Diego Dallo was, and then you've had Rasmus up front. Was it Rasmus at the time? I think it was Rasmus up front on his own,
Yeah.
and then you had players all coming back. So you just had essentially one striker and 10 players behind the 9 players behind the ball.
So we played. What did we play then? 4.
Well,
What did we
Dallo
play?
came off.
5.
Nacho filled in for him.
I think we was 5 at the back, weren't we? 5
So did we just play 5-4?
when all the substitutions come on, yeah. But up until the substitutions, I think we carried on the same virtually, but just with one striker. I think Bruno pushed back into centre mid. I think Garnacho was more. Yeah, so I think Garnacho switched over to the right side to fill in for Dallo, and then Bruno's pushed into the centre mid, and then that's it.
So that
So
would have been like a 4-3-1, if I'm not mistaken, sort of thing. Like when you
Yes,
look
I'm
at it
trying
that
to
way,
think of the formation myself, but yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, it works. I mean, be honest with you. I mean, there was times in I look at that game, and even though you had a man sent off, it didn't look like you were down to 10 men. The way how you was playing that game, you handled it. The passing, the creativity, even with attacking play. I mean, you had a few runs into the box. That the passing was good, and I just feel like I mean, fair play to you. I'll have to give credit where credit is due, and I've noticed now that the longer this manager, your new manager's been there, the last few games is how he should be playing. I felt like your team, in all fairness, had to adapt to his, the formation, the style of play, the strategy that he wanted. Hence, that's the reason why I'm not taking the bit when I say this. This was the reason why Man United was struggling in the first place. It only took it's what's this game now? Is it like the ninth game he's been in charge of Man United? Maybe something like that. So it hasn't really been really many, but I mean, obviously, you can see, and I know, like with Man United fans as well, some of them are, that when they used to hit on Bruno Fernandes, I finally find that Bruno Fernandes is changed his game, sorry, with this manager coming in as well, and he has got slightly better, Bruno Fernandes. That's my opinion, anyway. That's what I think. So. But I mean, I mean, the best team won in my opinion. I mean, and for you lots being down to 10 men, I thought you handled that game very well.
So look, we had like half an hour, plus another half an hour extra time to
Yeah,
cope at 10 men. That's 60 minutes, and so kudos to the manager for setting things up and making us difficult to beat and restricting them to not many chances because they didn't score, to be honest. So on the 80th minute, Mr. B, we got Collier came on for Mainu. We got Dallo came on for Garnacho, who was doing a job on the in the defensive side of things, and then Xerxes came on for Holland. And obviously later on with the booking that Harry Maguire had, 104th minute, Euro came on for Harry Maguire at the time. So the subs, the way they're managing the game here,
Subs are brilliant.
Turned out okay.
Subs. I thought the subs were brilliant. Xerxes came on, the ball stopped. Ahmad was left, right, centre. And when Xerxes broke, he made sure that he broke with Xerxes, so he was the option. Collier, I don't know why he hasn't played. We haven't seen him this season. We've heard about him. But when he came on, obviously he's got the height, and we hear about his running. But Jesus, he's quick. Flipping heck. He's not just, he's not just somebody who would plod. He actually looks like he's got a little bit of pace about him and he can hold his pace.
Yeah.
So I think the subs were. I thought the subs were brilliant. He came in. I think Collier showed the level of maturity that we hoped he had. Xerxes the one, man. I'm just so glad that he came on. All of those fans who paid their money, fine, and booed him. I hope they hang their heads in shame. These two games, this game, the last game he played in this game, the fact that he came, he felt he looked stronger. Maybe it's a determination. Maybe it's a self-determination. Maybe the booing has given him the kick up his ass and made him say, look, I'm not leaving here. You know, but I thought he was really impressive when he came on. And Ahmad is Ahmad, man. He's like a will-o'-the-wisp, man. I love him. I love him. Everything he does, I think Ahmad does is great. So the 3 subs work perfectly. Yabba. 3 subs were perfect in my opinion.
Sorry, Dora, just to add a sub, I forgot about this. Agate came off, and I went, oh, no, you're not doing that, are you? For Malacia. So, once again, managers shuffling things around. I couldn't work out. Obviously, Malacia ended up on the left. And then, between you and bath time, explain to me, please, because I swear I saw a little number 6 playing up front, just shutting around.
He was knackered.
Dora, bump heads. What was going on? How do you set this all up to sort of, and not concede? Jeez.
Go on, BT. I'm interested in what you're going to say.
What are you talking about, Martinez? Becoming Lautaro Martinez? Because he was dead. He was dead on his feet. Okay. 2 hours of football. You had to do a lot of running and stuff like that. I also think that after Maguire went off, in the box, there was a little bit more spaces to cover, and Martinez was struggling, and that's nothing against him. He put in a good shift, and he did pretty well. But just I'm sure Anthony will tell me, but I think I saw Martin Keown go up front for Arsenal once when he was injured. Just get him out of the way and put him somewhere, just a big body, a little body up there to do something. But I was really, really, really impressed with Toby Collier. From what I saw, I think it's difficult because he's coming on and he's fresh and no one else is. But in the technical aspects of what he was doing, I thought he was far better than Ugarte. The way he was doubling up correctly, his ability to get beyond the ball and make run-ons for Xerxes, allowed a bit of space for Ahmad and so on. I was tremendously impressed with the energy, the legs. He's just a perfect henchman to have on the pitch, doing all the hard yards. Xerxes, absolutely, he's a Manchester United player now. Came on, he twisted Saliba up, he competed for it, he did everything you needed to do. And Ahmad, he's just a funny little so-and-so, Ahmad. He shouldn't win the ball. He shouldn't be able to do anything. It was
a header. He went for a header and crushed Jorginho, and then Jorginho had to come off. I thought,
and that's one of their best penalty takers. GG.
Get in. He crushed him. Yeah, man.
I think Collier could be the new McTominay, Steph. I really liked what I saw. Don't you tell me what to do. If I like him, I'll like him.
No, we're not. I'm glad you like him, but don't you ever compare him to Scott McTominay.
Why not? That's a good player to compare him to.
No,
Anthony, you'd love a Scott McTominay at Arsenal, wouldn't you?
I'll take anything at Arsenal at the minute.
All right, guys.
The subs were great, Yabba.
Yeah, just talk about the penalties now. I mean, when it gets to penalty, I think the momentum was with us. And we won the toss as well, which meant we were at the United end. I was quite confident all the way through. I think when we look at the, I don't think he practiced penalties, but we had ball strikers, Martinez, Xerxes. We had Bruno. Bruno must have taught Martinez how to take a penalty. He took that same penalty. And who else scored? But
Yoro was taking penalties very early.
Right, Joe.
Any surprises there, guys?
Yeah, they should be embarrassed that Yoro took a penalty ahead of a few of them, to be honest.
Ooh, best BT is taking that angle.
No, because that's the same thing that I said. I'm saying, hold on a minute. How's this young youth just come in? 19 years old. We've got players who are senior
full
players,
internationals
who are. He's a bloody defender.
Yeah.
He's a bloody defender. I mean, who else was out? Okay, let's see who else was taking a penalty. Delict, yep.
Malacia.
I don't know if
Malacia
Zertsky
probably
took
not.
one or not.
He took the last
Didn't
one. What are you
Delict
talking about,
kick
bruv?
him?
Yes, he scored the last one,
winner.
didn't he? Sorry.
He took the glory penalty, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, Collier.
No, I just don't think that Euro should be like the one stepping up for that. I mean, put him at 5 or whatever.
What he does, no, 5. 5 is a pressure penalty.
Yeah.
If he needed it, you know what? He took the middle penalty, didn't he? He took 3.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a look. If you're confident of taking a penalty, you're gonna put your hand up and say you're gonna take it. It might have been that he put his hand up first. We always knew Bruno was gonna take one.
Well, they probably do competitions and so on. I'm sure that it is that like Euro was happy to do it and things like that. I just think that like when you're like an experienced international like someone like Delict and you see a teenager going up to take a penalty, there's got to be something within you that goes, "What? Like, come on, this isn't right. I'm gonna go and do it." It's like, you know, watching, I don't know, like your 18-year-old cousin driving to pick your mum up or something. You should be doing that. Doesn't matter if he's got his provisional license and all that kind of stuff. I was really disappointed when I saw Euro step up, but I'm really pleased that he did it. Technically, it was a brilliant penalty. I'd like to see more of us in a game where we took collective responsibility for once. I'd like to have seen us take a bit more individual responsibility at the end. That's just my thing, but you can't complain that it went in.
Yeah, I just want to say, with penalties, what you're told to just hit it in the corners, and it'd be hard. If the goalkeeper saves it, then good. During the game, obviously, Odegaard missed the penalty, or he had a penalty saved. He didn't miss it, but it was a good penalty. It was in the corner. It just so happened that Beyonce went the right way, and usually, if you hit it crisp enough and fast enough, you got a chance of scoring. But I was really impressed because when Diallo stepped up for the penalty, I was looking at his run up and thinking, what are you doing here? But then I remember he's only short, so it probably was a long run up for him. But he only took 2 steps something and just put it in the corner.
Yeah, it was just
I really impressed. I thought, what are you doing? Are you experienced? Do you know what you're doing here? What's the way? I mean, how would you guys take a penalty? Do you have a long run up? Do you just pick your spot? Do you drop the shoulder like Martinez did? I mean, you got to have some sort of confidence or some sort of idea what you're doing.
Panenka.
Pick your spot. Pick your spot. Alan Shearer said you always pick your spot, and whatever you do, you don't change your mind, because that last minute you change your mind, that hesitation creeps in, and then you're guaranteed, you can miss it. So obviously you pick your spot, you go with it, but hit it as hard as you can. Rifle that ball in the back of the net as hard as you can. But no, seriously, that's the best thing you can do, because I'll tell you something. That Kai Havertz penalty. It was like he was absolutely scared to take it in case he chipped a bloody toenail. Let's be honest. That was awful, that penalty. And even all right, Odegaard's penalty wasn't that great within the game, within the 90 minutes. But I mean, we had to have Saliba. Saliba backed out the penalties because obviously I don't know if the rules have changed because you was down to 10 men. So Saliba turned around and said, "Look, I'll back out." And I wish he didn't. Now I think Saliba most probably had more of a chance of scoring the penalty than Kai Havertz. But look, what's done is done now. But I think congratulations to you for Man United, and obviously you've got Leicester in the next round. I mean,
rude.
You're home. You're home.
Wow.
You're home.
Wow.
And do you think as well, like, see when like you're playing in a game and like the opposition's keepers just saved a penalty from your penalty taker, like your regular penalty taker, does that fear come into your head, come into a penalty shootout, thinking, if our best penalty taker can't score, how am I? Like, or does that, or like, do you know what I mean?
I doubt
it must go into your head.
Not really. I mean, the thing is that one thing that I've found is the size of the goalkeeper can make a difference. Like, if when you get there, and like Bayinder's a big leggy, like I don't know, like a bonsai tree or something. He's all over the place. But it's like when you take a penalty, I think you just visualise it. You don't change your mind. You strike it with conviction. and that is pretty much the best that you can do. Modern penalty takers seem to be more about unbalancing the goalkeeper, making him go more of a kind of like a game of chicken or something, and that is where you can lose your nerve. I think if you look at Yoro's penalty, and did Declan Rice hit a very good penalty as well, didn't he? Like Binder went the right way.
Yeah.
You want to hit the penalty thinking that the keeper is going the right way, and you put the requisite amount of power on it, and you take it out of his hands, basically.
Exactly.
All the other stuff is just you've got to mentally prepare yourself. Maybe a player like Saliba, for example, doesn't like kind of rehearse these things in his head often enough, and maybe that's why he takes himself out. But it doesn't, in my experience, doesn't make a difference if like someone's missed a penalty or not. It's about you at that moment doing what you can do and just getting on with it.
Well, we're through to the next round, like I say, a home draw against Leicester, which is good for Man United. And I think things like this could be the catalyst to changing our fortunes going forward. We've got to commit to every game and put the same sort of amount of effort in as we have against Liverpool and Arsenal. 2 tough games away from home. So if we can do that, that should be the standard. Playing Leicester at home or playing Southampton next in the Premier League, that should be the odds should be on us to win, based on what we've shown so far. But yeah, really, really good performance. Just want to go through some players. I want you guys to just name me your man in a match and just give me a little quickly punchy reason why this player gets a recommendation. And if the player's been named too many times, you want to talk about someone else, if for Man United or Arsenal for you, Anthony, just let me know. The bath time, I'm going to start with you. Just name a player you want to talk about. It doesn't necessarily man in the match, but someone you feel deserves a little speech.
Well, Maguire, for one, I thought that he was absolutely outstanding today. Me and you, Yabba, come under a lot of heat on this channel over the years, talking about how we think he's far and away our best central defender and has always shown courage, as it were. Like when we were really bad, it was Maguire that tried to put out fires and Maguire that tried to take control of situations, and for a lot of those reasons, he looked like a donkey from time to time. And at the beginning of last season, Johnny Evans and Maguire came on the Emirates and the crowd laughed at him. They were not laughing today when he walked off like Lionel Messi, having just shut down like all their attacks. The majority of what he did was technically like of a world-class level, from his footwork to getting ahead of his man to winning his headers, and he's been a colossus in the last 2 or 3 games, and I'm really pleased for him, and I'm also really pleased for De Ligt, because De Ligt, whilst I didn't think he played as well, he made a sensational clearance. It's the thumbnail from Trossard across it, and they're beginning to build a bit of confidence at the back, and I'm just really impressed with Maguire, and I hope that we keep him for a while, because he really is a top-class defender.
Mr. B, I know you didn't like that, so just name a player that you want to summarise on.
Okay, you already knew that, innit? You already knew that. Flipping it. I'm gonna go Xerxes. I'm gonna go Xerxes. The fact that he took the last penalty with confidence, I think his performance when he came on, is everything. All right, he's not the fastest, but the ball sticks, man. Jesus Christ! As a manager, I want the ball to hit my striker and stick, not bounce off so that he's had to do a Dalot tackle to get the ball back. No, stick, control, head up, pass the ball, spin off, go again. So no, mine is Xerxes.
Big up, man. James, I mean, your debut on the show, not a quiz, but you had a good performance. Talk to me about someone else in Man United who had a good performance today.
Yeah, 2 come to my mind. 2 of the youngs. I'm struggling to pick between them, but for me, Kobe Manu or Garnacho. I think I'll pick Garnacho, purely because he's had 2 assists in 2 games now. He's starting to find a bit of rhythm again. He's getting a bit of more confidence from his manager. The manager said before the game he's had a good week in training, so on and so forth. So, yeah, I think there's nothing but goodness up for him. Maybe Ahmed and Garnacho can both play. That'd be interesting to see on the new system.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Dora, anyone you want a special mention?
I mean, I agree with everyone and their picks. I think all of those players contributed massively to the win. Even the youngsters, Collier, Menu, I thought he had a solid game. But I mean, I would just shut up the goalkeeper. I mean, we talked about him a lot, but after the in my opinion, mistake in that first goal and the calamity that was Spurs game in the cup, I think that Binder recovered really well, and he showcased that he can be a solid backup goalkeeper for Manchester United and potentially create great competition for Andre Onana, who, in my opinion, has he has to prove himself more, in my opinion, and I think sometimes he didn't deserve a start at all. And unfortunately, we didn't have a good, solid number two that would, kick him and put him on the bench. And hopefully, Binder is good enough and he has confidence enough that he does it, for Onana and kicks him up his ass.
Okay, Andy. Apart from the ref, who is your best player?
What's the
Yes.
rest? I reckon he had an outstanding game. No, I'm joking him on. I reckon it was your goalkeeper. Seriously, I think I mean the penalty save within the 90 minutes, the penalty save, within the shootout.
Sorry, Andy, I cut you there. Was it a penalty?
Yes,
Okay, fair enough.
yes. But in all fairness, I think whether he's going to stay your number two, I think it's going to be a certain amount of time if he can actually rotate your goalkeepers and start playing this number two. And I reckon he should be looking over his shoulder, thinking, "Hang on a second, look, this keeper's got something here. I should be, I should be looking out for him." But obviously, I don't know if that's going to happen. It should do. Because I know I'm only going on one performance, and it was one performance only for tonight. But I think I reckon he's a brilliant goalkeeper of Monday. Honestly, from what I've seen tonight.
Dora?
Can I ask something before we wrap it up? Maybe about the managers, what we expect from them, and of course I need to ask Anthony because this has been a huge talking point, especially after this game. Arteta once again fumbling another cup run. How do you feel about it as an Arsenal fan? Because it can get frustrated waiting for something. Building. You're building it for years and years and years, and he's getting a lot of resources, and he's been kind of bottling cups. And how do you feel about Arteta right now? I mean, it's a legit question. I mean, he's been
No, it's a good
fumbling
question.
it. Yeah.
Dora. Sure, no, it's a good question. I'm not an Arteta in. I'm Arteta out. I never wanted him managing Arsenal Football Club in the first place. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't being greedy. I mean, last season we missed it from his mistake of picking the team. We had a winning team. He jumbled with the side against Villa last season. We lost against Villa, which cost us the Premier League. I just want a different manager in. This season, I wanted two things. I wanted the Premier League, and there's no chance of the bloody FA Cup now because I wanted that as well. That was the only two things that I wanted, and obviously we're out of one. We're not going to win the Champions League. We just haven't got the depth in our squad. I mean, we've been hit by quite a few injuries. I'm not looking at that as an excuse.
I was going to say, I don't hear nothing about no bloody injuries, mate.
No. I'm not looking at that as an excuse. But we had more depth before this transfer window closed. We had more depth before the window shut than after. So, and what we did in the window was, if I had to rate my Arsenal transfer window this season out of 10, it would get a big 4 for me, 4 out of 10. So yeah, I'm keen to if Mikel Arteta loses on Wednesday in the North London derby against Tottenham, obviously he's not going to get sacked. He's not. But if he was, believe you and me, I'll be having parties on the streams and I'll be happy. I'll have a cigar as well.
Say, big up.
Thank you for your answer.
Remember Steve Feeney, rest in peace, Stephen Fleetley. But I'm sure he was always Arteta out.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. Yeah. Good guy. Miss him a lot. He's a good guy, Steve.
Rest
And
in peace.
he was the first. He was the first person. I went on his show when I started going on YouTube on Monday, and I can remember I was on holiday one day, and I think you jumped on Stephen Fleetley's show, and it was the first time that I actually saw a Monday on the show, and I thought to myself, yeah, good guy, this Monday. Obviously, talk sense, and that sort of thing. Mind you, he's the only Man United fan I know that talks sense, to be honest with you.
Andy, if you want to come back on the show, you don't have to suck my.
Oh well, yeah, no.
It's all right. Andy, I love you, bro. Thank you. You're a good sport coming on today. Andy, where can we find you? I mean, do you have any social or anything? Where can people find you? Want to hook you up?
Yeah, you can find me on. I am on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, but I don't really go on my socials anymore. You can find me on a show on Early Doors Football TV, where we do a show on the Wednesday. It's called The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Obviously, we've got 3 panelists on there, me being one of them. So it's Arsenal against West Ham against Man United. And we talk about our teams, and we have a laugh and a joke and a bit of banter. And, we just love football, and that's it. We also do a channel. That's on football. Early Doors Football TV. Okay. That's on. We actually go.
Well. Make sure you subscribe, guys. Early Doors.
Yeah, and we do a show on Sunday, which is called the Sunday Night Takeaway. I did tell him. I said, if you ask, that's a rip-off. That was what I said, because the Friday Night Takeaway show we used to do on air, I said, look, have you asked the Man United agenda's permission? And he said no. So, but yeah, that's live now. I'm going to be jumping on there after this show. Ooh, so lovely. It was just nice to come on a different show. Do you know what I mean? And see you lads again, sort of thing. And I'll
abuse you on Early Doors channel. Don't worry, mate.
Yeah.
Bring up to my man, Professor James. The TikTok's good football community as well. Big up to Breeze.
Yeah.
Professor James, I mean, your debut on a football show, not a quiz show. How did you enjoy it? And will you come back on sometime?
Yeah. As long as you let me back on, yeah, of course.
Where can we find you as well? I mean, where can we find you, James?
I'm on all social media per se, apart from Instagram and Snapchat, but I don't use them apart from TikTok, to be fair. But yeah, I'll put me TikTok underneath my name as well, Professor James 23. I do content of funny stuff. I do impressions, beatboxing. I wind my wife up a lot on there, and we talk football and stuff.
You're right there, James. You do impressions.
Yeah.
Who do you do? What sort of guys do you do? People, well-known sports personalities?
No, I can do Harry Redknapp.
Can you do a Croatian?
I do who?
A Croatian.
Croatian.
You're from Croatia.
No,
yes.
I've never actually tried to do a Croatian before.
Have a go.
Guys in the comments, who do you want to see? Just give us a round. Just name a few people that you do. Please.
Harry Redknapp, he's sort of like that, hello, what, yeah. I specialise in Disney, if I'm honest with you. Because I've got 5 kids, so I entertain them a lot. So Mickey Mouse is one of my favourite pals. Welcome to the clubhouse. Yeah, I go through. I've got ADHD, so it just sort of comes out sort of when it's like sort of. But now you've started me, you probably won't shut me up.
Guys in the comments, they're asking for Sean Dice. Can you do Sean Dice? Talk about the game. Talk about his sacking.
Sure, nice. That's probably all I can do.
Brilliant. Can you do Pumbaa and Timon as Mr. B and Yabba?
You are an idiot.
No, I'm going to have to practice that one, so.
That's something for you to practice before you come back on again, mate. I tell you.
Yeah, next time I come on, I'll do that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
God. Anyone else on the show do impressions? That's the criteria now. If you're coming on, you got to do an impression. Jamie Carragher. What about Jamie Carragher? Simon Warner's asking for that.
I
Oh,
just
sorry.
wanted someone to do that, and I knew it was going to do this.
All right. Here's one for you, James. Can you do Cabrice?
All right, so let me get into Tabrice. Hang on. Let me. Oh, well, first of all, I wouldn't be here because Tabrice would be late. Okay, so. Okay, so. Okay, so.
That's good. For the guys who don't know, Cabrice, top man. Spot on. I like that. Even Mr. B knows. That's good. That's very good. All right, enough.
Thank you very much.
Make sure you check out TikTok. Enough football content going on with Professor James. Big up to Andy Herbert as well for coming on. Dora, we're going to come to you. Just by the way, when we say goodbye in Croatian, for those who don't know, Anthony and Professor James, we're going to go around the room anti-clockwise, starting with me. Sorry, clockwise, starting with me. And we're saying goodnight. Thanks for everyone who's tuning in. We're through to the next round. Man United have bust up Arsenal, KO, and it's a Lacanoche from me.
Lacanoche.
Lacanoche from me.
Lucky notch from me.
Lacanoche from me.
Lucky enough for me as well.
Good night.